Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Cheryl Witha show. And this is My Kind of People, episode 6. And today we have a very courageous woman, a woman who has been through quite a journey, right? When you think about Nora, you think about courage, you think about self transformation, you think about self acceptance, right? And how she has grown from strength to strength and through all the things that she's gone through. And I'm so excited to actually bring her on board to tell us her story, to tell us about the woman behind this profile, right? Who is she? What is she all about? And what does she represent? And she has not just an amazing story to tell, and her story continues with the things that she does today. So, everyone, let's invite Miss Nora. Hi,
Hi,
Nora.
hello Sharon. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. How are you today?
I'm doing great, and thank you so much for inviting me to be on your show. I'm so excited. Looking forward to have an amazing chat with you.
Definitely. It's. Uh, I was so inspired. We met at the Global Empowerment Summit with
Mhm.
Andrea, right? And we were on a panel, right? Remember the self
Yes,
love
yes,
panel?
yes.
And it's like because the panel had so many people, there's like not enough of time to actually really go deep in. And from that day, I think we've had a lot of chats, right? Audio chats, audio notes, and whatnots. And I thought, hey, we need to actually speak more. And the more I got to know you, I thought, Nora, you've got a story that needs to be told. I know you have your book, but I wanted to tell your story. I wanted you to come on board, and I thought, we have to bring Nora. So I'm so thankful that you said yes, and thanks to Jana as well for all the arrangements and helping me out to actually, do all the logistics as well. So tell me, Nora, tell us a little bit about yourself, and then, but before that, right, the
Mm-hmm.
word, right, born to smile, just that word
Let's.
born to smile, it's so you, it's so you, right? Born to smile, it has such a ring to it. Talk to us about that, right? And tell us about yourself. What does that sentence, right, those three words mean to you, Nora?
Well, basically, all of us human, we are all born to smile, regardless of ethnicity, race, religion, color, age, weight, appearances, birth, destiny. We are all born to smile, to have that authentic smile. And I love your smile, okay? So beautiful. Megawatt smile. Yeah, we all born to smile big.
Yeah, yeah.
And we all know that sometimes human beings, we all have our life challenges. I mean, life, like there is a saying that say life is not a bed of roses. And I admit it is not, but at the end of the journey, we would really, want to sit down there and say, hey, you know what? We are all born to smile, nevertheless. Right? All of us.
Definitely, definitely.
We're all searching for that happiness from within. And
Betul.
everybody's definition of happiness is different. That's not the story altogether. So we're all singers song.
I completely agree, right? But tell us more about, who is Nora? Who's Nora behind the scenes?
Well, firstly, Nora is a mother of three. Okay, I've got three beautiful children. Najwa is 30 something, Nadia's 20 something, and they're both married. Najwa is a mother. Nadia not yet. And my youngest is Akmal, he is 17. So first, I am a mother, I'm a daughter, I'm a friend, and I'm also a grandmother. That is, to me, the most dearest thing to me at the moment. And I'm also a social activist.
Yeah.
I am, a project partner with Ronald McDonald House of Charities. They have four pillars. One of their pillars for charitable works is Gift of Smile, where they sponsor the B40s communities, children with a cleft lip and palate to seek further treatments from the plastic surgeons, the speech therapists, the orthodontists. Okay, so I would say that I'm a mother, I'm a grandmother, I'm a friend, I'm a daughter, I'm a sister, I am a project partner running McDonald House of Charities, and I'm a social activist where I, hopefully create awareness for the cleft lip and palate community.
Amazing. And it's a happy International Women's Day,
Yes,
right?
yes, yes.
So
Happy International Women's Day to you too, and to all the amazing, courageous, and beautiful women out there. My salute.
yeah. So
Respect.
I was just telling you I came back late from work because we had a session right in campus by my colleague Roberto. He actually ran this media talking about media and challenges and opportunities for women, right? Women in media, and we had four amazing women on board. We had Melissa, we had Farida Hamid, we had Professor Azman, and they all, you know, such strong characters of women, and it's lovely to see women really stepping out, going out there and being heard, being seen. And I think that's why you were the perfect choice for today, right? It's so significant, right, the Women's Day, and I think you are that
You're
symbol.
kind, Cheryl.
Your symbol of strength, your symbol of strength. Okay, let's go a little deeper, right? So Born to Smile is actually the title of your book, am I right?
Yes,
So
yes.
tell us a little more about how you came up with that title.
Okay, like I said earlier on, Born to Smile. We're all born to smile, nevertheless. The thing is, it's the subtitle of the book is Life, Love, and Accepting My Cleft Lip and Palate.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was born with a facial difference. If viewers out there who's new to the term, it is in a very simplification form. It is a split in the upper lip and my palate. Yeah. So Nora Abu Hassan, book is called Born to Smile, Life, Love, and Accepting My Cleft Lip and Palate. But again, for the viewer's sake, there are four variations of a cleft lip and palate. We spoke about it
Mhm.
earlier. The first variation is only a cleft lip palate is intact. The second variation is a cleft palate, but the lip is intact. The third variation is a cleft lip and palate, and even the cleft you have the complete or you have the incomplete cleft. So
Mhm.
for people who are born with the complete cleft palate, whereas as the cleft from starting from the root of the mouth right up to the anataka, usually they have a speech impediment. Okay, and then the fourth variation is a bilateral cleft lip and palate. So like I said earlier on, I was born with a unilateral cleft lip and palate.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and
Interesting.
then yes, I can go on and on. No, but and the surgeries. Some people
Yeah.
they do not realize that we have to go for multiple surgeries. So I myself went for about 8 to 10 surgeries from the age of 3 months right up to 30 years of age to repair the broken lip, the broken palate, the broken nose, and also refinement work. Okay, but those people who are born with a bilateral cleft lip and palate, which is two split on the lip in the palate, I've spoken to a few of them from the United States and all that. They actually have to go for about 20 over surgeries, which is really mind blowing, to be honest with you.
So it depends on all the complexity, and it's not an
Precisely.
overnight thing. It's not a one-off thing. It's a very
It is
long
not.
journey.
It is, and it is every cleft is different. Yeah, not all cleft are the same. So when even operations are also different, like you said lah, complexity of the cleft itself, and lain-lain tak semua sama. Yes.
Awesome. Awesome. So, can you tell us what inspired you to actually start talking about telling us about this story, right? This journey in your book. What inspired you to start taking that pen and start writing about it? I mean, it
Yeah.
must not have been easy, right?
Yeah, that's a fantastic, excellent question. Admittedly, if people were to pick up the book, I was very candid and very open about my journey of being born with a cleft lip and palate. And there was a moment that I honestly did not accept my birth destiny. Okay, so upon hindsight, when I reflect back, why did I not Why was it so difficult for me to accept my birth destiny back then? Back then, now everything's okay, because
Yeah.
when I was growing up as a child, right up to the age of 17, I was emotionally bullied a lot, and it kind of rocked of who Nora Abu Hassan was. It kind of rocked my soul. I didn't even know who I was. I didn't know. I didn't think I have a soul, and my esteem was basically tak ada lah, low, low or zero basically. So I went for a journey, and then when I got married, I had children, and then people asked me, Nora, why did you take the step to go for? Of course, obviously, before I started to write the book, or I decided to do the book, I had to go for a journey of healing
Yeah.
immediately. So I realized that my own demons, my own inner turmoil of not being able to accept my birth destiny was slowly killing me softly. Yeah,
Mm.
was killing me softly. And I know that I was projecting my, I would say, non-acceptance to my children, i.e. that, I was short-tempered, I was reactive, and it was affecting my relationship with the kids. And I said to myself, hey, that's not what a mother is supposed to be. I brought the kids into the world not to be, projecting my anger to them. But I
Yeah.
knew that I had an issue with self acceptance. So I began to look outside for external help, and I went for a journey of healing, self healing, understanding the meaning of loving yourself, understanding the meaning of, hey, accepting yourself, and said to me that you're born with the cleft and palate, Nora. Accept it now. Move on. So I did that. I did that for a while, and then when I went for my last retreat with Skip Archimedes, he is an international author. He's an international guru, and we had an exercise at one of his programs, healing program, and he said, why don't you all write a letter to yourself and see where you're going to be 5 years from today. That was in 2017 August, and I wrote to myself that I want to write a book about my journey, my journey of being born with a cleft and palate, and my searching of self-acceptance and self-love. And I came back in 2017 from the retreat, started writing it, and then voila, the book came out in the market in October 2019. Born to Smile was born then. Yes. So to answer you, after the last retreat, I decided, you know what, I needed to do this. And people also ask me, Nora, why, it is something else accepting already, but why do you want to tell the whole world? Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Why do you want to write it into book? This is, your story. And I said, you know what, just maybe, yeah, maybe a mother who has a child with a cleft and palate, or a teenager who is battling or battle what I was battling, or an adult that's having a CLP, battling what I was battling, or even going through the battle, maybe they can pick up this book and
Yeah.
hopefully know that is a light at the end of the tunnel. Okay, I'm not going to say that somebody born with a facial difference, i.e., cleft and palate, it's not an easy journey. Some
Yeah.
of us have to go for 10 over surgeries, some of us have to go for 20 over surgeries, but it is possible. It is okay. Just trust the process, have faith, have that strength. Inshallah, your child can grow up to become whoever and whatever she or who wants to become. It is not, I would say, the end of the world. So that
Yeah.
was where I was coming from. And also large message about loving and accepting all God's creation, all not just as cleverly and palate, be
Mm.
kind, spread kindness to humanity. And so it's a message about the anti-bullying, the anti-stigma, and the anti-discrimination. Because my mother, when she had me in 1960s, she also had a fair share of being stigmatized because
Definitely.
her firstborn child was born with CLP. So let's create awareness on this. Let's just be nice and kind. That we didn't ask to be born like this, but hey, this is what God has given us. Okay, so accept it, because even right now, Cheryl, as when I talk to the cleft community, the adults right now, some of them are still being called names, which is actually a
Yeah,
very very sad thing. It's still happening in as we are
definitely.
talking right now, which is not
I mean, it is sad, right, that in this day and age, right, you think this 21st century, people are more aware, people will know how to, use their words tactfully and
mm,
speak or with kindness, but unfortunately, whether it's on social media or face to face, these things are still happening. And I think it's usually the lack of awareness, is ignorance of the issue. And I think it's fantastic that you've come up with a book to give people an insight into what it's like. And often people either don't care or they don't know. When they don't know, they don't care. But if people start to find out and understand your journey and see you
mm,
as this person and what you've gone through, I think it would really open people's eyes, and they'll get educated with things like things like this, so that they'll be more open to listen, to care, to think before they open their mouths, whether it's to do with this issue or any other issue, right? And
correct,
I think
correct, correct.
I think it's amazing. So let's, if you don't mind, let's go down that road, right? That road in your past. Take us down that road. How
Mm.
how old is Nora? How old is Nora when she started realizing that she's different, different from
She
other
was,
people?
she was 7 when she started going to school.
Okay, I think that's the age where realization really hits on many levels,
Standard
right?
1.
Because
Standard 1,
we're
yes.
exposed to people outside our family, right? We're exposed to that. And I feel it too, because I have a kid that I haven't sent to school yet, right? My daughter is turning 5, and product of a mixed family, and I'm like, okay, how are people going to treat her? They're going to discriminate against her. And the thoughts are there, right? So yeah, 7 years old, I can really imagine, right? So talk to me about Nora at 7 years old, right? How was it like? How did you feel? I mean, what was it like going to school, and how did people respond to you?
It was not a pleasant journey. Immediately, I only realized that I was born with a CLP when I started going to school. When the other children would call me names or make fun of me, basically. So the journey wasn't a pleasant. Absolutely not. Yeah.
Were you shocked to see how people were reacting to you at that age? You're
Well, I
seven
was
years
only
old in
I was
school.
only 7. I was only 7. I wouldn't say I was shocked. I was more sad.
Like,
You know,
why
I
people
was
are
more,
treating me
yeah,
like that,
yeah.
right?
I mean, at 7, what shock is, but it's like, you know, uh, the name calling would happen when sometimes you're walking to the canteen, right? Or you're waiting for the car to come and pick you up. The classroom, the kids in my classroom was okay, but I'm talking about the other classroom, because during those times, sekolah kebangsaan, banyak kelas,
Mhm.
betul tak? Standard
Yes,
1 pun
yes,
kadang-kadang ada like, wow, 8, 9 classes or something like that,
yeah,
So
yeah.
one class, there would be about 45 children. Do you know what I'm saying? So when you go to the for recess, during a break, then you have all lots of children, and it will be anyone from anywhere. Do you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
then when they start calling you, I'll be like, God, I would be sedih lah, sedih, malu, and sometimes they will call you in front of other children. Sometimes they will call you when you're alone, like waiting for the car at one corner. Because when I remember when I was a standard 1, I used to wait for the car at the corner because I didn't want to be seen. Do you know what I'm saying? So at
Yeah,
one corner,
yeah.
and maybe there was somebody walking and look at me, and they would just sit there and at me and call me names, and I'm like, what can you do, Cheryl, at 7 years old? What can you do? There's nothing much you can do, seriously. And again, like I said earlier on, the transformation of a child, of an adult or a child born with CLP is gradual. Yeah, okay. So again, I had 8 to 10 surgeries. Yeah, okay. Only at the first early years, it's repair work. Okay, and
Yeah.
then your repair would be your broken lip, and then your broken palate, lepas tu your broken nose, all right? So your refinement, which is where the aesthetic comes in, or the revision come in, or the lip augmentation, or the skull augmentation, IE, and all that, will only be done with the kids at the age of 17 during my time. But 17 years of age, because the face
Yeah.
stops growing. But now I think the plastic surgeon can do it earlier, lah, maybe 15, 16. But during my time when I was growing up, 17 and above. So when you do your repair work, the what do you call this, the difference of the nose and the lip will still be apparent. Okay, your
Yeah.
nose will still be your nose will still be asymmetrical, and also your lip. And obviously, if you go to school, you cannot wear a cover stick, or you cannot wear a lip liner. Like even now, if I were to not wear a cover stick, people can still see my scar. No kidding.
Mm.
It is fine. I'm okay with that. Or if I don't wear a lip liner, they can still see, my lip is not so well defined, so to say. But I'm good now. But during those time when you go to
Yeah.
school, you cannot wear lip liner, you tak pakai, boleh pakai lipstick, tak boleh pakai cover stick. And then your nose pula, macam ni. Jadi, that's where all the name calling and mocking will come in. Yeah.
And did you go back home and tell your parents that people were taunting you and bullying you, and how did that go? I mean, did you ever reach out to your teachers? I mean, what was the school system like? I mean,
Now,
that was what, 70s?
70s, I went to standard 1 in 71. Yeah. Until 76, I was in standard 1 to 6, and then 77, I was in form 1 lah. Yeah, 70s. No, I didn't tell the teachers. I would tell my mom. People would try to pick up the book. I did tell my mom on occasions. But you see, my mom had younger children. Okay. And she would say to me, "Oh, Nora, biasalah budak-budak. Itu
Jangan
biasalah."
layan. Yeah.
Yeah. But to me, it's not biasa, ma. I'm the one that's
Yeah.
getting hurt. You know what I'm
You're
saying?
listening to that, and it
Yeah, yeah.
hurts.
It was, but during those time, parents were kind of different. I'm not blaming anybody. No, I'm not blaming my mother. No,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
not. I ain't. But there were times when I would tell her, "Mom, I tak nak pergi sekolah.
yeah.
I don't want to go. I refuse to go." Then she said, "Oh, my daughter doesn't want to school. That
Yes.
I better go and jumpa the guru besar and tell the guru besar nak my daughter tak nak pergi sekolah." And on occasions from standard 1 to standard 6, she would go to school and tell the headmistress or the headmistress at that time. And when I was growing up, my late father, decided to put me into sekolah. One is a sekolah agama kan, religious school, and then the other one will be the sekolah kebangsaan. So it depends on the semester, half year,
Yeah.
pagi agama, petang kebangsaan, or vice versa. So I would be going to two schools, yeah, and I would be called names at two environment. Pergi
Both.
sekolah sini, balik rumah, pergi sekolah situ, kena panggil. So it was kind of tough, man. It was tough. Mm.
Did you have at that point of time, right? So the school system, your parents would go and speak to the teachers, but how were the teachers with you? The teachers in school or the head mistress, how did
Uh,
they handle this? Because they know what you were going through, right?
Yeah,
How did
they would
they show
tell,
anything? Kids.
I'm sure at that point of time, I was very young to understand what was going on,
Yeah.
but I'm sure at that point of time, the headmistress would acknowledge that, hey, Nora is being bullied, being called names at school, and maybe she would go in and tell the class, children in that class. But what about the other class?
Mm. You cannot
What's
power
that?
everyone, right?
You can't go and tell everyone to bully her. And no, there's not police surveillance walking around with you at the back of your head. Don't bully
Yeah.
her.
With the
Once
game,
you're
jangan
personally,
jangan baik. Yeah, yeah,
you're
yeah.
on your
But
own,
we,
Mm.
we were talking about this earlier backstage, right? We said kids can be mean, and they are mean without any filters. Like adults, if they have something nasty to say, especially Asians, that is, right? We usually like tahan, we won't say it, we'll keep it in. If anyone asks you something, like someone give you something, they say, hey, is this nice? Yeah, yeah, it's nice, even if you don't believe in it. And that's the thing about Asians. But at that age, kids don't have any of those filters, right? They don't have any covers, there's nothing, they just say exactly what is in their head, and most often than
Absolutely.
not.
Absolutely.
tact is not there, right? So yeah,
Absolutely.
must have been really tough, and I think,
That's why, Cheryl, sorry to on that note. That's why when
yeah,
when I talk about, one of the reasons why, I decided to give birth to Born to Smart is also to have
yeah,
an awareness for the anti-bullying, anti-discrimination and all that. I feel that the anti-bullying campaign or awareness must start from home,
yeah, definitely.
So, parents, must educate or create awareness to their children that, hey, if you go to school and there's somebody that's looking different or whatever it is, can you be kind? Do not step on them. The least you can do is do not call
Yeah,
names. So I think we need to create that awareness, society
that's very
awareness.
important.
Yeah, it is
Yeah,
important because you have kids, I have grandchild, and it's not only about it's not only about clever and pilot. It's about anything and everything,
yeah,
and
yeah,
I'm
exactly.
saying here that I am not saying here that some people ask me and say, hey, my child got a cleft palate. Will they be bullied? I said, no, I'm not saying. But I was. But when I speak to the community, the cleft community, the stories are the same. They are being bullied. And the kids, the mothers, when I speak to the mothers, mothers will tell me that the kids are still being bullied. But bullying happens to anybody. Yeah, it's not
Yeah,
only
yeah.
to, yeah,
It's a
okay.
universal problem, right? Especially in
It is a
schools.
universal
And
problem.
I
Yes,
think
yes.
the worst bullying happens in schools. In schools.
Okay, in schools, in office, okay,
Workplace, workplace as well.
on the roads, on the
Yeah.
internet, cyberbullying,
Yeah,
right?
now you have the social media, right? That's
Yeah,
another
yeah.
space to be bullied, and that is a space you find it difficult to turn off, right? Because it's there in your face, and if you're a sort of person who opens and reads and reads and reads and scrolls down, I mean, can drive anyone to a point of uh, of no return. I would say a point of
I
no
mean, you
return.
you hear stories. What
Yeah,
this is not drama. Or this is not a movie plot. You hear stories a lot. Some of the international artists, they actually resort to taking their own life just because they've been
yeah,
cyberbullied. I mean, this is why is this happening? I don't understand why somebody should make another person feel small or inferior or powerless. I mean, why the need to? Why can't we just have more acts of kindness? Why?
yeah.
Sometimes we
I
ask them.
was speaking to Paloma, right? Paloma was another person on the self love panel, and she's talking about degrees, different degrees of how we feel, right? And she said shame is the lowest, and it can have the
Yeah.
least energy, right? So
Yes,
imagine when someone says certain things to you that makes you feel embarrassed and shameful. That is like the lowest level. It pushes you way down the ground, and it's
absolutely.
like you can't come back out. So how do you advise? I mean, having been through this, right? How do you advise parents out there in terms of how do the kids deal with the, because it's something that I think no parent can shield you from. It's something that you, like you said, right? I can't have like the teacher following me around. I can
Yeah,
say don't do this, don't do that, but end of the day, who you don't have the guardian angel there beside you, right? I mean, if he's there, maybe he's not, he can't be seen, right? The physical self, you can't see anyone there. You're on your own. So what is your advice to parents to help their kids through this journey, right? Because bullying is something that is hard for us to completely like say there's no such thing, right? It still
correct,
happens.
correct. I think first and foremost, it's important for the parents to have an open communication, lah. You know, uh, uh, give the children assurance that, hey, if anything that's happening in school that is affecting your emotional state of mind, talk to them. So I think this open communication is important, and parents should also instill the thing of not blaming, because some parents, yeah, when the children come back, sometimes when they say to the parents that, hey, I'm being bullied, and kadang-kadang mak bapak kata, awak yang jahat ke? Awak punya
What
pasal
did you
ke?
do?
Really,
What did
what
you
did you
do?
do? What did you do
Yeah,
to provoke?
yeah.
What did you, there are parents like that, right? So listen. I think listening to the children is important. So at least,
Mhm.
you know what? Because you know what? The children, they don't have, really, honestly, they don't have anybody to talk to, except for
Yeah,
the parents. So if the parents do not have an open communication, now who is the child going to talk to?
very true, very true.
Right, right. So allow the children to be open. And then the
I think
other two, of course, instilling confidence lah. Huh? I mean, children. Yeah, I've spoken to some of the children who are having a CLP. Some of them are absolutely amazing. They're so confident, but not all
Mm.
children are confident. Putting aside CLP, putting aside having
Yeah,
born with a CLP, even
just being a child.
just being a child. So I
Yeah,
think what's important is this installation of confidence has to come from the parents. Yeah, you're doing
agreed.
great. You're doing a good job. But of course, I'm not saying that it's all bed and roses, like with the child, but benda yang tak betul, hey, you're doing great. No, do you know what I'm saying? But give credit when it's due. So at least the child says, okay, my mom thinks that I am a good whatever it
Yeah,
is. So I think this instilling of confidence must come from the parents, from the
yeah,
home.
from
Of course,
home.
with the support of the sekolah as well lah.
Yeah,
So it's a
yeah,
it's a two-way thing. What do you call this? School environment and also home environment. That means
yeah,
ensuring the armor in the child that if they go up there, they don't kena shoot kan. Okay, you know what? I've got
yeah.
this. I already got
I've got
this.
this armor. I got different levels of protection, right?
Different levels. And
Yeah,
one of the protection again is coming from the parents. Again, if a child coming back from school and just showing you, a work that he has done, right? And the mom says, oh mom, this is what I did today, blah blah blah. And the mom will say, okay lah. And oh my god, you've done a great job. Look at you, blah blah blah. It really gives a sense of confidence for the child. Tau. Do you know what
yeah.
I'm saying or not? Can. Mm. So I think
Definitely.
communication and instilling confidence, parents, yeah, that's their job. We're all parents. We're all parents. I know it's a journey, but somebody has to do
Oh,
it.
it certainly is. It certainly is because you really need to be. I mean, there's no manual on being a parent, right? This for any parent, there's no manual. And what more with if you're looking at the more complexities, right, on how to deal with your kids being bullied, how to deal with uh, we were talking earlier, right, about stigma, right, and how your parents and thinking back, right, that was the 60s,
Yes,
60s,
I was born in
70s.
1960s. Yes, yeah.
So can you imagine at that time what kind of support was out there, what kind of awareness were there on
Not
issues like this,
not
on
much.
these communities, right? So my gosh, I salute your mom, right? Your mom having to
Yeah.
deal with
So do
stigma
I.
from society. I mean, how I can just barely imagine actually like how your mom went through it. But what kind of support is there for parents today, right? Parents who are bringing up. I mean, thankfully there are people like you out there, right, to help support them. But
Yeah.
what other support is there for parents? You know,
Sure.
even even these days, right? Every time a parent has a child, it's often people will blame them for anything that happens to the child.
Absolutely spot on. Spot on. I agree with you. That is why when I talk, I always say to them that please don't blame. Never take the
Yeah,
blame.
yeah,
You see,
yeah,
my mother, I'm the firstborn, yeah, and some people did blame her, and she was, you know, discriminated for having a child that was different,
yeah.
and this is a real story. This is not a made up story. And even now, like I said, when I speak to some mothers, and the mothers are talking about now, not 1960s, they have their own
Mm.
stories that
Yeah.
people around
Still,
them still
yeah,
blame them.
still
Uh-huh.
people can be. I mean,
Me,
let's not go so far. Even these days, ageism. If you have a kid later in life, people are, have a lot to say. What more? What more? So, I mean, society has to open their
yeah,
eyes.
I mean, yeah,
As you said, right? Be kind.
just
Be
just
open.
stop judgment and just be kind and accept. Like I said earlier on, I said that accept all God's creation. Itu je, again about the support group, yeah, back to the support group. There is a Facebook social group, Clapney and Palette Malaysia. Just search for it. It's on Facebook, number one. And there is what you call a support group that started by two amazing mothers, Lia Kasim and Nurul Nana, and they can actually even go onto my Facebook and we can put you on the mothers support group. Okay, and we also have an adult support group. There's amazing adults and clefties in that support. So please come, and you wanna be in this group. You wanna be motivated. We have a fantastic group of cleft community in that chat group. Come, but look up for the Clefly and Palate Malaysian support group. And there also, if you're tuning in from all over the world, there is a lot of support group right now on Facebook, Cheryl, the Canadian, the Americans, banyak ada sekarang ni. Just have to search for it. And this is where the community, they what they call, they motivate each other, they give words of kindness to each other, and because they've all gone through the same experiences as we all did, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But unlike my mother time, memang tak ada lah. So she and my father were basically on their own. And now, like even plastic surgeons, if a child has okay, if you have a child that's born with a cleft lip and palate, all you have to do is, go to the nearest clinic kesihatan Malaysia, get a referral letter. And if you're born in the government hospitals, anyways, it is, and you're coming from the B40s community, the operations are highly subsidized. Highly subsidized.
That's
Yeah.
great. That's
Mm,
let's go further and talk about self-criticism, right? You have we've spoken about basically criticism, bullying from the outside, external, right? And we're going
mm,
back to the internal. That means you yourself, right? This child growing up,
mm.
having a cleft palate, right? So if you look at towards yourself, when you talk about self-criticism, you talk about low self-esteem, and let's talk about it, right? How did you get past that?
I went for a journey of healing and looking for answers within myself. I started to embark on the journey, because yes, my external work was done. Yeah,
Yeah.
because like I said, the operation is gradual. It's a transform. I mean, it is a gradual transformation. Okay, so I grew up, and then my last surgery was at 30 years old, and externally I was looking all right, but because of the internal trauma, or all the bullying and emotional abuse, my external was still not prepared yet. Yeah. So I acknowledged that I had a problem with my inner demons, and then I searched for solution. I went on a journey seeking the answers from within, and now the rest is history lah. Yeah.
So let's go, if you don't mind, let's go a little deeper on this healing
Yeah.
journey,
No
right?
worries.
So how did you start seeking, right? So you realize like, okay, I'm not, I have done externally, right? I'm okay when I look at the mirror, I'm fine. But
Mm,
internally something is not right,
correct.
within me. I feel that
Yeah. Mm,
I'm not accepting myself, not accepting Nora, right? So what did
yes.
you do in order? I mean, what was that very first step, right? Because often we always look at people when we're looking at you, Nora, now, right? You have your own book, and people are like, wow, Nora's so successful. Look at her, she's full of life. But honestly, sir, how did she get there, right? What
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
right? So what was your, like, what was that moment where you went like, okay, I feel that I need something, and what was that first step? Because I'm sure there are people out there, right? Whether they are going through the same journey or a different journey,
Yeah.
maybe not the exact one, but they are
Yeah.
also going through, a lot of young people, right, that I teach, they go through a lot of self-criticism, they go through a lot of low self-esteem, uh,
Yeah.
judging themselves, doubting themselves, thinking they're not good enough. So what was that? I mean, what was that first step that you took? I mean, obviously there was many steps, right? But what was that one of the first few steps you took that brought you on that journey?
Well, the first step was actually acknowledging that I had a problem. You get what I'm saying? I
Yeah,
need to acknowledge, okay, why did I think I had a problem? Because I got married, I had kids, and then I realized that I was getting agitated with them. I was getting
yeah,
short tempered with them, and I was projecting my anger on them. And I was saying that, and then I set aside and I say, hey, I'm not angry at the kids. Why am I so reactive to them? If they did something wrong with it, and it's me. I'm angry at me. I'm angry at Nora. And I knew what I was angry about. I knew I had a problem with self acceptance all along, even though I went for all the work. I knew deep down inside I still had that issue. said, okay, I
Yeah.
stepped aside and I said to myself, hey, Nora, you need to do something about this before you explode. Because obviously, when you bring you bring children into the world, you don't want to become this witch kind. You want to become, you're supposed to be the mother, the what called the provider, not the, you know. And
Yeah.
and then I said to myself, this emotional, turmoil that I was facing, the scar was really deep rooted.
Yeah.
Because remember while I was growing up, I was not able to talk to anybody about it. My mother didn't, we didn't really have a heart to heart talk. You know what I'm saying? Even if
Yeah.
the mother, to flashback, but even if my mom were to go to the school and talk to the headmistress, the headmistress would not bring me aside and say, Nora, what happened? No. Do you believe it? I didn't have, the headmistress didn't come to me and ask me how I felt.
Yeah.
So everything was bottled up from the longest
Yeah.
time. Dalam ini tau. Had that problem, and I knew that I had to have external help. I seek for external help. That's why in the book I say, if you need to seek for external help, do it. I
Go
was not
ahead.
able to get up. I was not. I mean, I knew I had a problem, but I needed outer help to heal.
To,
So
yeah.
the
Yeah.
first, okay, and then but when I went to seek for external help, I knew what my problem was. I knew that I had this problem, and my angle was, hey, you need to get out of this problem, man. You need to get out. Okay,
Yeah.
so I started the journey with going to see Tony Robbins in Singapore.
Yeah.
He was
NLP. Yeah.
the first guru or motivational guru, the rah 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 and all
Yeah.
that.
Ra, 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 yeah.
Live with passion and everything and all that. So that was my first step towards towards a journey of healing, so to speak, or seeking self-acceptance. So I saw Robbins in Singapore, and then I heard Robin Sharma, the author who wrote The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari. He came to Kuala Lumpur to promote his book.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I don't know how I stumbled upon it. I think it was the Malay Mail or something. They say, hey, Robin Sharma, come in. I say, hey, I bought the book, and I heard him. He was only a 1 day seminar. And I remember him talking about healing. Tau.
Yeah.
And I remember he said very clearly that I just got up from bitter divorce and I'm healing. And I'm thinking, Robin Sharma, this amazing best-selling author, is telling his audience that he just got out for a bitter divorce and I'm healing. I'm like, I'm healing too, Robin.
Amen. Yeah.
Amen. And I could really relate to him. And then he
Yeah.
went on. He went on. I went for NLP. I went for coaching, etc., to heal myself.
Yeah.
Okay, I needed that closure, man. I really needed that closure because, like I said, it was eating me, killing me softly. And my
Yeah.
last retreat was with Skip Archimedes, and if people were to Google him, he is a motivational guru, an author, yoga enthusiast, and he had a retreat. And then that was in 2017. And then he said one of the exercises that we had to do for 5 days was write a letter to yourself and see where you'll be or what you're going to do 5 years from today, which is 2017. I think it was August. And I wrote a letter to myself, and one of the goals that I wanted to do was to write a book about my journey towards self-acceptance. And to cut a long story short, in 2019 the books hit the market. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it started with awareness, right? First, you've had to have the awareness. If you don't think you have an issue, if you don't think you're suffering through anything, if you think everything is hunky dory, that means if you're in denial, there's no way out for you, right? There's no way out for you. So if you think you're fine, but you're exhibiting all the symptoms that tell you you're not, our body is amazing, right? It tells us a lot of things about ourselves and how we feel. If we don't feel good about ourselves emotionally, it manifests in us being unhealthy, right? Suddenly we feel our back aches, our body aches, our because that distress causes that, right? And that awareness, I think, was that first amazing point for
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, and the sad thing is our this is, you call it this is, not you know, is melontar pada pada orang-orang yang kita sayang.
Yeah, yeah. Because the
That
closest to you gets hurt, right?
the people that
When
you live
when
with, right, are your kids.
yeah, your kids.
I mean, it's
Yeah, yeah.
okay that maybe you're having this is yourself, you know, but when your this is affecting people that you
Others.
love,
Yeah, yeah,
I'm like, no, no, this can't be it. This is not what I've bargained for. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Mm,
yeah. When it started manifesting outside towards the people you love the most, but that's how it is, right? When we are hurting really deep inside and it's really bad, it often hits the closest people to us. The
yeah.
closest. It's not the people you don't like, but the closest to you, they'll be like, "Why is this person being so mean or so nasty or so ugly or angry to me or to us? What's happening with this person, right?"
And when they're kids,
And
they don't understand, right? When they're kids, they don't understand. You
yeah,
know,
they
why
don't
is my
understand
mother
what's happening.
always, why is my mom always so
Angry.
angry? Why is she always marah me for nothing?
Yeah.
Didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah,
Can
yeah.
comprehend. So you took that action, right? You said, okay, I need help, I need to go. So
Yeah.
what made you continue? Because a lot of people, okay, I have to be very honest right now. A lot of people feel that healing is like, you take some water, you take the pill, whatever the pill may be. I'm not talking about a physical pill, but it could be like, I go for Tony Robbins, I went for one, I'm done. I should be better, right? Let's talk about that, right? You said you went
Mhm.
for multiple sessions, right? It was
Yes,
like a
yes,
continuous process. Talk to us
yes.
about that. How does that work? Was it
Because
just
I felt that my journey was not complete. You know, after going to Robbins, you know, it was a 3 days hoo ha ha ra ra at the Singapore Stadium, and I said, yeah, okay, he's cute.
oh, he is interesting.
Oh, come on, Robbie. I mean, yeah, he is. You know,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
no,
yeah, yeah,
he's right.
yeah.
Okay, so
Tony
right now,
Robbins.
okay, you feel good for, you know, when you're there, you know, the
The
excitement, the
energy, right?
energy,
The
the audience,
atmosphere.
and
Yeah,
the
yeah.
atmosphere. You had to walk on the, you know, you had to walk on the fire. Have you been to any of his Robbins? Have you been to any of his Robbins seminar?
Only on YouTube.
Oh, okay, okay. Oh, okay. Well, you know, it was in Singapore anyway, so you had to walk
Yeah,
on fire, not on fire, but on the alah, lupa apa, fire lah basically kan.
yeah, yeah,
And yeah, it was great. You know, it was energetic. I felt, you know, wonderful, amazing. But after that, remember, this is very deep rooted. You know, three
yeah,
days
yeah. It's
seminar
deep
with
rooted.
Robbins is not going to, you know, what they call, just going to swat everything. You know,
Not a
the
magic. Yeah,
yeah, there's no magic wand. Come on, there's no magic wand. It is a process. Okay, people I think who's listening into me would agree with me or not agree with me. You know, it's okay that healing is a process. It's a journey. It's not an overnight thing. You know, it also depends on what you've gone through, what your experience are, all the emotional scarring, all the trauma, and then you have different sorts of trauma. You know, like mine was okay, bullying. Maybe another person. Okay, we're
yeah,
not just talking about CLP. Maybe another person grew up with an abusive father. You know,
yeah,
or a mother that was, you know, physically abusive. You know, a mother that was hitting. So all this is trauma,
yeah.
you know, dalam tau.
Trauma.
Jadi kalau nak answer you, sekali pergi tak akan
Yeah.
berjaya. So the reasons why
It's
I
good for
started,
you.
yes, I went on to continue the journey because I knew that I needed more work on myself. I knew I needed more work on Nora Abu Hassan. So
Yeah,
I
the
went
self
on.
the self awareness is very important. But guys, I want y'all to really listen when Nora is speaking. Right? She said it's a journey. It's not a
Mm,
destination. It's not overnight. You're going to feel. It's not a magic. I mean, it's not. We're not in Harry Potter, right? It doesn't magically transform you. It takes time, and it's a
yeah,
continuous journey. So don't be disheartened when things don't change overnight because it's not meant to. It's not
no.
meant to change overnight. It's a process.
And then the other thing also I wanted to say also, you don't mind to the viewers, that if you knocked at door one and you don't get the answer, okay,
Yeah.
don't give up. Okay, because maybe door one is not the
Right
right
one.
call for you tau. Okay, so don't
Okay.
knock. Number two, number three, number four. Keep knocking until you get your answer or your solution. Don't give up. Do not give up. That's important. Because in order for you to get out, first and foremost, you have to be aware, like Cheryl said. Number one, aware, acknowledge, okay, and then acknowledge the fact that, hey, I need help.
Yeah.
I need, and it's okay to seek for that external help. It's okay.
Yeah. It's okay. It's
It's
okay to look
okay.
within yourself. It's okay to improve yourself.
It is okay not to be okay. It is okay not to be
Yeah.
okay, right? It's okay not to be okay. And
That's
again,
empowering.
call number one doesn't give you the answers. Knock again. Knock again until I am sure you will get your answers or your
Yeah.
solution. Okay.
That's a very good point. Knock and knock and knock and knock until you get what you need, because you need it, right? You need it to grow, that's a very very important point. Nora, we only have about 10 minutes more, and like my heart is like kind of divided to what I should focus our attention. There are so many things to ask you as usual, but I think an important part is talking about your partnership, right?
Yeah,
Let's talk about your partnership with McDonald's, right?
Ronald
What is this
McDonald's.
partnership about? So a lot of
Okay.
people feel that it's when you have a partnership with a group, you're like, well, talk to us about the deeper meaning of this partnership, and why you do what you do
Ronald
with that.
McDonald's Household Charities. Okay, I
Yeah,
was, when I was creating awareness on my mission and on my book, I started a lot to do, to do talking engagement online. Obviously, because of COVID, and we were not able to go out. Because before COVID, I actually went to a couple of bookstores, like Popular Borders, to talk about Born to Smile. So when I started pivoting online, McDonald saw me, Ronald McDonald House of Charity saw me from
yeah,
far and then connected with me and said that, can we collaborate? Can we work together? Because Ronald McDonald House of Charity, it is a charitable organization. Yeah, of course, funded, operated by McDonald's. Yeah,
yeah,
and they have four pillars. There are the four pillars. One is sensory equipment. Number two is back to school. Number three is underprivileged. Number four is give or smile. Give or smile. So give or smile says it all. Giving back the smiles to the children,
yeah, yeah,
having cleft and palate, or cleft lip or cleft palate, or bilateral cleft and palate. So what they do is that they sponsor financial assistance for the B40 communities with children of CLP to go for all the treatments, i.e. the plastic surgeon visitations, the surgeries, the orthodontists, the speech therapists from birth right to 18 years old. So please Google Ronald McDonald's Give or Smile website and then fill in the application form. Of course, your criteria must be syarat-syarat tertentu lah. Ya, itu Ronald McDonald akan get through your application. So please spread out this awareness, because maybe some of those living in, out of what do you call it, the luar bandar, are not aware that there is such a charitable organization available. And sometimes, Cheryl, I also speak to some people also tak tahu yang sebenarnya kan this condition is a treatable condition,
yeah. A lot of people don't know. You're right.
Yes, so I am creating awareness that this CLP is a treatable condition. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
earlier on, you said that some are also worried about financial. Okay, do not
definitely.
worry. We've got this Ronald McDonald House of Charities, and I said earlier on, even the government hospitals, the teaching hospitals, actually provide the treatments highly subsidized, highly subsidized. Thank you very much for that. Yes,
Guys, I have linked it right in the chat, right? Ronald McDonald House of Charity, so you all can check it out. You all can
yes,
also reach out to Nora. Nora will be able to advise you on how to go about it, because I know when it comes to finance, right? If you're not so well off, right? I mean, not don't even have to not be well off, but it's like she said, multiple surgeries, right? It's not a
Yeah,
joke. And it also needing emotional support, time. And Nora has gone through this journey herself. And I
yeah.
think, how do we get your book, Nora? How do we get your book?
Yeah,
Where can
but
we find
okay,
your book?
before the book, I've spoken to the plastic surgeons at the teaching hospitals, and they, if people were to go back into my Facebook interviews, all they always keep what they call stressing that money is not an issue. Huh?
Okay.
Money is not an issue. If you're really financially not viable, all teaching hospitals and all hospitals have their own welfare department. Okay, welfare
That's good.
department to
Good to know.
assist. And McDonald's also give financial support for logistics, transportation, accommodation. Okay, before that, because like sometimes the parents they need to stay in hospital, stay in, stay outside, get the accommodation because they have to demand their children going to
Yeah,
operation and all that. McDonald's actually provides it free and even transportation. So
that's
yeah,
great.
yeah, I just wanted to, stress that out. Okay,
Yeah.
my books. Okay, okay, my books. Before it was actually an MPH Borders, Kinokuniya Times and Popular, but after a while we had to take it out. So now it's in on Shopee. They can buy online from Shopee. And if those of you are into ebooks, you love reading from your iPhone, your iPad, we have collaborated with eCentral.com, which is a Malaysian version of Kindle into a ebook. So the
Mm.
ebook is also available and it's actually available worldwide.
Okay. Okay.
So you have the ebook
You
version
guys
and the physical book version.
can also follow Nora on IG as well
Mm-hmm.
as Facebook. And you can reach out to her for any questions relating to this issue. She's a motivational speaker as well, a social activist, an author, uh, mommy, grandmother. Wow, amazing, right?
Your mother,
Multiple
yes.
roles. Pretty much of a woman, right? And as I said earlier in the show, right? International Women's Day, right? And such an apt person to bring on. I have just one more question for you to do with the future, right? So I read somewhere, I stalked you online, of course. I read somewhere that there's a possibility that there might be a documentary coming up, maybe.
Well, anything can happen. Anything is possible. Let's see, anything is possible.
Interesting, interesting. Please keep us updated. And those of you who want to reach out to Nora, yeah,
Yes,
maybe to extend support, help,
yes.
or if you need help, please reach out to Nora or reach out to me. I'll connect you with Nora in case you didn't get the contact details. It's in the chat as well. I hope you guys have had a insightful and inspiring night with Nora and myself. I think today was a very important part of the show, and that's what we do on the Cheryl Witha show, right? My kind of people, bringing people like Nora who inspire people. And I love what you said about looking within yourself. And I think a lot of the things with us has to come from within. We need to recognize it within ourselves before we can grow. So,
It's
Nora, any
always an
last
inside job.
words?
It's always an inside job, Cheryl.
Yeah,
It begins
definitely.
with inside, yeah.
Any last words, Nora, to the audience out there
I
before we
always
close?
love to say that self-love is the greatest love of all. Define yourself even though the whole world wants to do that for you. And
Beautiful.
thank you so much, you Cheryl, for having me on this spectacular show. I enjoyed every minute of it. I hope that the viewers got some, it got some, because
I'm sure
I
they will be.
yeah. So thank you. You've been an amazing host, and keep going, keep inspiring, keep rocking, and again, it has been a great journey.
Definitely, definitely. So good night, everyone. I'm gonna go and chit chat with Nora backstage. So you guys have a good night, and I will see you guys again in 2 weeks' time. All right. We have on the 30th of March. We have Jeffrey Tan who is coming on board. He's a pathfinder. So I'll see you guys again on the 30th, same time, 8 p.m. on Wednesday night. Good night, everyone.
Good night. Thank you.